What you talking about, Willis?
All right, y'all. We are back. The man, Big Pretty. Got a special guest today, guys. I know everybody's heard the big news now on Quibi. Die Hard, starring Kevin Hart and John Travolta and more. And this man right here, J. Paul, Kevin Hart's Stuntman. How many people can say that? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well today, man. Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about a little bit what it was like being on the set. I mean, I know I was there with you several days. You had some killer stunts, man. Still to this day, impressed. I was telling some people about it. Hey, what was it like? I mean, your stuff, man.
I appreciate
Incredible.
it. Yeah.
How many years have you been actually a stuntman?
I'm going on 17 years.
Wow.
Damn.
Started when I was 19.
Yeah.
I started in the live show circuit and was doing live stunt shows at the theme park. And I just worked that circuit. That brought me to California. That introduced me to a film stunt coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Was also the stunt coordinator of the show that I was in. And then he referred me. I joined SAG, and the rest is history, man. Just kept on the grind, you know. There were some ups and there were some downs.
Hey, I know how that is.
Yeah.
I know how that is, man.
So what's the process of becoming a stuntman? You know, what's the how did you figure out that you wanted to be a stuntman?
I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was blessed, bro. That's all I got to say. Because I had no idea about stunts when I started back in 99. So it's 1999. I am a bum. I'm broke. I'm at home. I'm chilling. And so I opened up a paper. Well, I did have a background in gymnastics. So I did gymnastics and competed. And I was coaching at gyms, but I wasn't making any money. I was doing it because I loved gymnastics. I loved being in the gym coaching. And then I opened the paper, and there was an audition at this theme park not too far from me. And they were looking for tumblers. So, hey, man, you know, I tumble a little bit. So I went, tumbled, read a line, and the stunt coordinator at that show, at the audition, he told me to stick around. Told everybody else, yeah, you'll know in about 2 weeks whether or not we pick somebody. And I was like, oh, okay. But he's like, yeah, you stick around. So after everybody left, he's like, yeah, you're hired. You're hired. Nice. I said, oh, well, you just told? He's like, yeah. So don't worry. We're not
going to call them.
Don't worry about it. That's the protocol. So yeah. So from there, I just, you know, was mouth closed, eyes open. You know, what can I learn? You know, I was thankful to be have a job for one, two, to be in some place where, you know, it was my strong suit. It was within my wheelhouse, bro. You know, tumbling, reactions, air awareness, comedic timing, all of that. I kept training, I kept learning, and you know, was on the grind. So I was doing live shows. Started in the Batman Thrill Spectacular show, which was big back in '99. There was a couple of them that were around the nation, predominantly in Six Flags theme parks.
Okay.
And came up in the Batman stunt show, doing some precision driving, and you know, some fight work and comedic timing. And then from there,
what's comedic timing?
Oh, it's slapstick stuff. So you know, it's Pratfalls. Pratfalls, just anything that's like got physicality, comedic physicality.
Kind of like selling the hit and stuff like that.
Flipping on stuff, like tripping on a banana peel when it's not really there or whatever, you know. And it's just the timing of that to get the laugh, because you know, you can slip and fall and you can get several different reactions. I'm gonna jump ahead. So we were in Boston. I was with my family, and I like to do this thing with my son where he's on the swings, and I'll step in front of him and get hit in the face, and I'll take a back fall, flat to my back. He loves it, cracks up. But I did that. This little girl saw me. She started screaming her head off. She thought it was real. She was terrified. Her parents didn't know what to say, so I had to go up to her. I said, look, you know, it was all fake from this side. Was this, you know, she's still crying. So I did a couple falls for her, and she goes, oh, okay. So that there is a better sense of comedic timing. Mm-hmm. Had the timing been more set up, she would have laughed. My son thought it was hilarious. He wanted me to keep getting kicked in the face. But so that show taught me comedic timing and when's the funny, when's not the funny.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just kept training stage combat. I started getting into martial arts and
What martial arts? Kickboxing. Okay.
My form is Eagle Claw, Northern Eagle Claw. It's an old traditional Chinese style. I studied it in LA when I was living there before I moved out of the area. But I was studying that still studying it. But I got my black belt after like 10 years of studying that and did some Tai Chi. But then from there, branched off, did some kickboxing, a little Muay Thai, some traditional boxing, some grappling, everything that was associated with, again with film, because, the striking has to look real on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So punch got to look like a punch. It's got to be legit. So backtrack took a pay cut at the same park to learn more stunts at the Western Stunt Show, which had more fighting, more reactions, more acting. And that was broadening my wheelhouse and exposing me more to stunts. Whereas the other show, I was kind of pigeonholed. I could only do one certain role because of my size, and everybody else, all the other roles required you to be taller. Mm-hmm. So from there, I stayed with that park another 6 years. I was there about another 6 years. I ended up writing a show, coordinating a show, directing the show for Halloween. And that's when I decided, all right, you know what? I think I'm going to do this full time. I was still going to school, studying graphic design. So because my park was seasonal. So in the winter, they would close, and then they would open up in the spring, hold auditions, and, yada, yada, yada. And
nice.
From there, moved to Florida to try to do it at Disney, work for Disney Entertainment. And they have big shows there. Indiana Jones stunt shows, one to name a few. Sinbad stunt show, which is no longer there anymore, but that's a Universal. But there's some bigger stunt shows around more live show performances. I ended up working for a live show called Pirates Dinner Adventure, similar to Medieval Times, but with pirates. Okay. A lot of trampoline work, a lot of acrobatics. Again, right in my wheelhouse. Pardon me, guys.
You got that dog. Yeah, I hear mine up here too, bro.
Yeah,
we don't cut the dogs.
Yeah, mine is over here walking back and forth, looking at me like, "Hey, man, what's up?"
And so from there, I did Pirates Dinner Adventure, and in Disney, I fell in love with Cirque du Soleil, and I was like, "Yo, that's what I want to do." Being that I have a gymnastics background, tumbling background, it's like, "Oh, I want to go to Cirque, man. That's it. That's the last move for me." So that didn't happen. I auditioned several times for Cirque. Even in Las Vegas, I auditioned for Cirque. That show, Pirates Dinner Adventure, hired me to go to California to open a show. And that's where I kind of was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm in LA. I have a job because, I was very aware that the game is ruthless. You go into a big city and a career like this, it's going to eat you up. You gotta have something, some moxie. So, took that job, went to LA, and that's where I met my Sifu and stunt coordinator, David Morzo. He referred me to another coordinator on a show called, called The Shield.
The Shield, yeah.
Michael Chiklis was on The Shield, so we're going way back now, like 2007. Yeah. It was like the last season, and they had like burned every other black stunt guy, and they needed a new face. So he was like, I got a guy, he's not SAG, but I work with him. He does really good work, good falls, reactions. So he recommended me, and I got Taft-Hartley. And then, the rest was history. Just kept showing up to practices, networking with people, and of course, I still have my job at the show. So I was pretty much training every day because I would have to go in. And the show required a lot of I want to say audience participation, but you're in front of the audience. From the show's 2 hours long. From the time you step on stage, you're on stage for 2 hours in character, doing stunts, creating bits with other performers. There were 7 other performers, and it was nonstop.
Damn.
And it really taught me how to memorize choreo, stay in the story, stay in the context of what the scene is, what's going on. If something jumped off that wasn't supposed to happen, then I could improv or make up for time or distract the audience, and we all just worked as a unit. So that transferred well over to film, especially when they yell cut. Because in live shows, there's no cut, right? Somebody goes down, somebody gets hurt. You have to pick up the slack so none's the wiser. One, so it doesn't, look bad on the
So what's the occurrence of injury? Because that was my next thing. So like, is injury very frequent in your profession?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a high level of risk.
Okay.
A high level of risk, but we're athletes, and you're training, and you train for to recover. To strengthen your body to recover. You put yourself through a lot. So where there was injury, times like sprained ankle, tweaked knee, ice bucket, some duct tape, couple of Advil, game on. And you
back to it.
Back to it. You found ways to push through. It's just like a fight. It's any other fight, man. You got to push through, dig deep. Of course, if you're out, you're out. You need to take rest when rest is needed.
Is your profession, is it really competitive? I mean, of course, is people behind you waiting for your job?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's not that many. There's not that many, I'm guessing.
No, there's not.
There's not that many openings. Sorry.
No, there is not. I mean, you can come out, you can start doing. And I know a lot of guys. They didn't come up in live shows. They did background work.
Okay.
They did background work for a long time before they got their SAG card, or before they were able to get in front of a stunt coordinator and get their information, or they hustled sets. And I hustled too, but some guys that I came up with, man, that was their job. 24 hours a day, find a set, meet a coordinator, maybe do that 5 times a day, hit the gym, train, eat, hit the set for the evening shots, catch a coordinator.
Wow.
That's how I got this one, Justin.
Wow.
So yeah, I didn't get picked because they only needed John Travolta for stunts for one day, and I was body doubling him, and then I actually got to meet the coordinator. That's where I met Jay, and then I talked to him, and he was like, "Oh," I showed him my stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna need you on Wednesday or whatever day it was." So that's how I got it, by hustling. So with the stunts, it's not like acting where you have an agent and you get an audition and you book the role. No, that's not how it works. It's who you know, and the who you know is getting to know the coordinators. But it's like, how do you get to know the coordinators if you're not on sets? So you got to find a way to get on set and meet the coordinators. Or, for instance, let's say Jay gets on something and I'm not on the project, but they need somebody who really fits my description. Jay could be like, "Oh, Mike could do that."
Hey, yo, I got you. Okay.
Word of mouth.
I
Word of mouth.
I can dig it.
So,
I can dig that.
Yeah.
I can dig that. And a question, you keep saying SAG card. How do you get that?
So your SAG after card now, because the two unions merged.
Explain that for our viewers, please.
Okay, so there first there was the Screen Actors Guild, and then there was AFTRA. I don't know what the
it was for like radio and something else. There were two separate.
Some TV shows.
Yeah, like soap operas.
Were AFTRA too. So I think around, was it 2010?
Somewhere around there when it merged, yeah.
2010, the two unions merged.
Yeah.
And if you were a member of either or, when they merged, you became a member of both.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't have that luxury. I was SAG, and then 2 weeks before they merged, I had a job working for a great coordinator. His name's Danny Wayne. Shout out to Danny Wayne. And I had to join AFTRA in order to work this job. And it was like weeks of work. So I was like, it's going to pay off. So I joined, it paid off. I made a great relationship with this coordinator, gained more experience. And so that's that union job, that union card puts you in a base level of rate for payment. So it's a union standard base rate of pay. Okay. And that, depending on how long you've been working or what position you're working in or what you bring to the team, or the production, I should say, varies on how much you can make on that rate. And usually, though, people start out at a base rate, salary, and then you can get additional payments on during the day from, if your gag is in high risk, you get a stunt adjustment. And there's other penalties if there's smoke, if it's raining, if you're on, you know, the union has allotted certain
like bonuses for different things that can occur on set.
On set.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's perfect. But once you get the card, and to get the card, if you are non-union, you have to get a voucher, and you have to do so many non-union jobs to get a SAG voucher. Once you have 3 SAG vouchers, you are then eligible to join the union, which means you can pay the dues and get your card, and then you make union dues.
What question? Are you once you get your card, are you guaranteed a certain number of jobs or still no?
No.
Okay.
No, you're just guaranteed that union rate.
Okay.
And if anything happens, then you can contact the union to represent you. Hey, I was on the set. This is what happened. Is this right? Can you take care of this for me?
Yeah, they really take care of you, and like with like payment and stuff like that. They really got your back. Like if it's a union gig, what they'll do is what makes it hard for some productions to make their production a SAG production is SAG will make them pay for all the actors up front. So let's say they needed Jay for 5 days and his rate was $2,000 a day. SAG is going to make them give them $12,000 up front, right? And then as the production goes on, they'll have to pay Jay all the $2,000, and then the SAG will be like, "Oh, you paid him. Okay, here's your $12,000 back." So they got to pay like double just to make sure that Jay's taken care of.
Wow. Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But I mean, once you get that card, it's just there is certain jobs that you can do that somebody who doesn't have a SAG card, like the stunt coordinators, they usually will not hire somebody who's not a union member because of the insurance liabilities.
Yeah.
That's just something super special. Like probably what happened with you, right, Jay? When the first time you got that, he fit it to the T. The coordinator knew for sure that he could do it. There's just no question. Yeah. And then he's in.
Yeah.
So there's just something you got to do to get in. You can audition. Sometimes you can get an audition. If you're non-union, you can get an audition for like a SAG commercial, right? But you're going to go up against a whole bunch of SAG actors. Like you just blow their socks off. They're like, we really want Mike, even though he's non-union. He's the guy. Now I am eligible because I booked it. That's called a TAF Hart.
Okay. Yeah.
Same thing.
And then you're eligible for a certain period of time, and then you have to pay the dues, or else you can't work.
Yeah.
Wow.
You will be penalized, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing with going union and having the rate and making some money. And some guys, you know, they have a very lucrative career, you know, in the business, and you can move up the ladder. You know, granted, that's what you want to do. So so after, you know, I joined SAG, then, you know, I was doing everything I could after work to make sure that I, you know, knew what people, you know, oh, if this person's working, can I hustle your set? If there's a function going on, you know, like this certain coordinator likes to host a seasonal party, and you know, he invites people to come. You know, you can get invited, and then you can meet the coordinator in a a more relaxed environment, as long as you don't like, you know, badger them about a job, you know, or anything. But you know, you can meet more people. The more people you meet, the more there's a chance of you being referred. And I want to say like 75% of your jobs are off of referrals. Yeah. They're off of somebody going, oh man, that guy's booked. Do you know someone? Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of other platforms in the stunt world that allow you to market yourself. But you know, you don't have an agent though. You can join these platforms. You can market yourself, and they can check the platforms and see, okay, oh man, that guy fits the bill, or that guy, or they'll go on. They have this thing on Facebook now where stunt coordinators post what they need, and people can reply on Facebook. You know, who do you think fits this? But it's still a referral. Referrals are the best. So I always tell people, go train. Find out where people are training and go train, because I can't tell you how many jobs I've gotten because someone saw me in a gym going, oh man, that guy moves really well. He's a perfect height. I get a call. Hey, yeah, I saw you so-and-so. I need you for this. Can you do that? Yes.
He said perfect height, and you're in the Kevin Hart movie. So does that mean you're Kevin Hart size?
I am 2 inches taller than Kevin.
Okay.
2 inches taller than Kevin.
He started laughing. Just
no, it's not a joke. Because he literally, that's what he just said. So I'm putting 2 and 2 together, that equals 4. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm not talking about his height. I'm just saying that's a blessing to be able to do what he does and to be athletic. Because I know the taller you are, I'm guessing that's a lot harder to do what you're doing.
Oh, for sure, man. There ain't too many thugs out there that are 5'5" or security guards that are 5'5". Yeah. But when I first started, I doubled a lot of kids. So being this height, I doubled a lot of kids. And it even changed how I trained, because I used to be 185, 5'5", 185. I mean, I had some muscle, and they're like, yeah, you don't look like a child. Like child doesn't have, traps. So I had to change my diet, change how I train.
Wow.
All that is the factor. All that's the factor, man, to, all right, well, let's see. Because they look at a lot. If we cut his hair and from this angle in the wardrobe, bam, dead on match. That'll get you in. But shoulders too big, or, there's a lot of factors that can.
You be having to shave your beard too?
Kevin usually keeps a beard.
Okay, cool.
I usually have to grow hair because I don't really like to deal with the beard. But he keeps a beard. So I just, out of my years of experience, I've always known that it's better to have long hair and a beard, because they can cut it and shape it whatever they want. But if you don't have it, you're stuck in that look.
Yeah.
And I've had jobs where they're like, yeah, we need you bald headed. And you're like, oh man. Because once you're bald, man, you got to wait for your hair to grow back before you can, put yourself out for another role. So
wow. So do you have to go through? Because now I'm curious about the in-film process. So imagine they say you need longer hair, but you're bald headed. Would you go through makeup and stuff like that? If they did pick you,
there's a possibility that the hair and makeup will work with you, and they'll wig you. But granted, this is the coordinator has all. He has to say, this is the guy. He's the right match, size, everything. The other guy that I had in mind, he's booked. That guy's too tall. This is the guy. We need a wig for him. Then they'll go out, above and beyond and make a wig for you and get you right. Sometimes add hair if your beard needs to be longer. Add hair, right?
Wow.
Sometimes even darken your skin if you're a lighter person. They'll make you a little darker to match.
Yeah.
Seen people who've had that done. But sometimes it goes against you. If you're bald and there's a guy like you with hair, more likely, guy with hair is gonna get the gig
because it's cheaper.
Yep.
Wow.
Makes it, so stunt coordinator really has a tough job, man. He's got to work well with every single department on the project, as well as keep every single person on set safe. So he's,
Are you a stunt coordinator now?
I am not. I have stunt coordinated. I started stunt coordinating student films when I was in LA, and I built up a pretty good resume. But what it did was it helped me become a better performer, because then I could really understand, why is it freaking taking so long?
Yeah.
You're like, yo, man, I just have to fall down some stairs. Like, we've been here since 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I was like, so it taught me what the process is, how they're going to run films, and, what the coordinator is going to need from me, specifically what the coordinator is going to need from me. Because that's the person that I want to do a good job for, right? Because if I'm a good fit for the team, I help him out, and there's a good chance he's going to recommend me to another coordinator. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't fit the role, he said, hey man, I know this kid, he was really, really good. He listened. He didn't cause a fuss. He works hard. Can you, you find a spot for him? That's also helps. So your reputation is better to keep your reputation clean than to try to make a bunch of money, and get yourself in a position where you are double booked. I've turned down jobs because I'm like, you know what, I'm just not available. I'm already committed to this thing. I've committed to some free projects, and paid gigs came, and I'm like, I committed, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna see this through. So your reputation is it's better to keep that clean.
So eventually, do you want to wear the shoes of a coordinator?
Me personally, I want to be a second unit director. I want to direct action. But along that journey, stunt coordinating's that works. I would take a stunt coordinating job. There's some different standards now within the union that you have to fulfill insurance wise before you can coordinate a project now. There's this lengthy insurance process you have to go through so that you check all the boxes, keeps production safe, keeps you safe. And because recently, I want to say it was like, I want to say what, 4 years ago, there was a decent number of deaths on set from stunt performers where there shouldn't be. A stunt is not, and I want to make this real clear, a stunt is not a one-off. It is a skill because it's something that can be done repeated safely. And that's where your skill from training comes in. Mm-hmm. We're not daredevils. They do hire daredevils for some of their gigs, right? Some people go and learn skydiving, but sometimes they'll hire a skydiver because the guy has done it before, right? And it makes more sense to hire someone that's done that position versus train someone to learn that position. Yeah. And a lot of people get into the business that way. Oh, I was a motocross guy. I got hired to do Point Break, and I was tapped it, and I just sort of just stayed and I hustled, and I drive cars or motorcycles, or I'm a water guy, and jet skis and boats, and all that is good skill.
Okay.
Yeah, he also did stunts on Black Panther, right?
Yeah. So one of the reasons so me personally, I moved out here. I moved to Atlanta from LA because there was a lot more work, and I just wanted to be one of the guys that got a call.
So you're in Atlanta now?
I'm in Atlanta now. Yeah.
Okay.
Atlanta local. I moved from LA to
So we're gonna talk about Black Panther really quick. Are you a Killmonger guy or are you a T'Challa guy?
I'm a T'Challa guy. Okay. You mean in the movie?
I'm talking about like personality wise, like what I mean, like not necessarily in the movie because
I'm a T'Challa guy. Yeah. Okay. I don't have that vengeance Killmonger does. He was bitter, dog. He was real bitter.
I don't know if he was bitter. See, all right. Now we get into my field. So the reason why I asked that is T'Challa was more of like status quo. He understood, right? He was more of the politician type of guy. Killmonger was more, I mean, they gave him that terrible name, so that automatically gives him a terrible reputation. Mm-hmm. But Killmonger was more the guy who saw it for what it really was. He said our identity was getting stolen, and he beat T'Challa fair and square. Point blank period, he beat his ass, you know what I mean? And he beat him fair and square. It was his kingdom. But what I like to say about Killmonger is as soon as T'Challa took back over, what happened? His whole area got infiltrated, and then the next movie, or not the next movie, what's the when Thanos came and basically destroyed everything.
Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, because he let people in.
Mm-hmm. So remember, he didn't agree with his dad.
Yeah.
So in the first, what was it? Was it Infinity War?
Okay.
Was it when his dad died?
Yeah.
His dad was at the conference, and he was like, "Yo, man, I'm suspect. I don't know about this." And his dad's like, boom. And then he was really like, "Nah, I'm not letting anybody in to Wakanda." Yeah. Not gonna make that mistake. But Killmonger's father, based off that story, was already trying to help people. He's like, "Look, man, people just like us. We need to help them."
Yeah.
Not thinking that they could get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hey.
I don't know, because I like to have this conversation with people, and like, because Killmonger to me, he stood for more
of his people. You know what I mean? Like people that, you know, and that look like him. And he understood the struggles because he went through the struggle. And it's like T'Challa grew up with the golden spoon.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So his understanding was more so in a box. Right? I'm not saying he wasn't like they didn't. He wasn't a wise guy. You talking about the movie. He was a wise guy, but I think his understanding was different. It was more of like that in the box. And you had Killmonger who understood the hard way.
Yeah.
So those are two different paths.
Two different paths. Also, you know, choices. Like Killmonger didn't have no choice. He had to survive in the world outside of Wakanda.
Yeah.
T'Challa didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Why? Why do I need to leave? I got everything I need right here. I mean, that equates so much to, you know, our you know, I'm gonna say our people today. You know, I mean, when my decision to leave Virginia, a lot of my homies were like, "Why?
Yeah.
Why you want to leave? Why you want to leave Virginia?" I knew people that, you know, had never left the state. I'm like, dog, the world is a big place, bro.
Yeah.
There's something else out there for me, you know, like instead of here, like circling around with y'all. I mean, granted, it wasn't like terrible. I'm not like, you know, bitter about it, but I wanted to go out there. I wanted to venture out, you know.
So did you grow up in a brown neighborhood, or did you grow up more?
Definitely a mixed neighborhood. Definitely mixed suburb. Even the school I went to was what they call the melting pot. And as a matter of fact, man, little history to anyone that's repping 703.
703 in the house.
When I was in 8th grade, we had a school-wide mediation. It was televised because we had Spanish gang, Caucasian gang.
They had gangs over there in Virginia? Oh, shit.
Black gangs. And they would, every Friday, man, football games is getting shot up, dog.
Damn.
This is suburbs, okay? This ain't DC. This ain't the hood. And so those altercations outside were filtering inside to the school because there were family members of those gang members going to my school. And these fights breaking out, right? So then the school said, yo, we need to have freaking, what's the word? I just lost the word.
Intervention or something?
Yeah. And so they sat everybody down. They had people talking to each other. Why do you think there's so much of this? Why do you think you don't like this person? You know, a mediation. So why do you, let's talk about it. Let's see what's really going on. It was publicized in the county, man. I'll never forget that. And then slowly the stuff started to back off little by little. But it was wild in Fairfax County, man. You know, now I've never seen so many Asian gangs before in my life. You know, all of them got death in the eye. You know, I'm not trying to say anything about any gang. I'm just trying to say anybody's better than anybody. But you know, it was wild.
So you're a guy who wears glasses, and I'm a guy where, you know, I was younger. I was a guy who was intelligent, you know, because glasses puts off the sign of intelligence. You know, when you grow up in the inner city or a place where there's a lot of people who look like us, were you called like Uncle Tom, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Oh, for sure, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
explain that, because I'm trying to get to the root of you.
For sure. I mean, let's go way back.
My
father moved my family to American Samoa when I was 2 years old.
Wow, interesting.
Granted, I was born in the States. I grew up overseas.
Hey, shout out to the Usos out there.
Oh, for sure, son. Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Hey, Samoans ain't nothing to joke about, though.
Man.
You don't sleep on them, dog.
Yeah.
I remember, you know, getting some fights. People beat you up, and then they'd be like, all right, we cool? All right, man, come on, let's go get a sandwich.
Hey, everybody out there, look up blackbirding. Blackbirding. That's something that I think everybody should know historically. That's it.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, look that up when you get a chance.
This guy will drop some knowledge on you, Jay. This guy knows stuff is like over my head. I'm just sitting there quiet. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, after I got this podcast, I gotta look this up. I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm not trying to act like I'm gonna know what he's talking about. I'm not gonna agree. I'm just like,
each one teach one. That's good. That's good.
You feel me?
Yeah, the more you know, the more humble you are.
That's it.
You know? But when I left Samoa in '87, dog, I was in the rock and roll, skateboarding, BMXing. And when I moved to Virginia, it was like I had never heard of Public Enemy.
Oh yeah.
Never heard of Public Enemy. I'd never seen an
yeah.
African Medallion before. And we're in the height of Afrocentricity in the hip hop game. And I moved in not even knowing what lotion is, son.
Lotion?
I don't even know what lotion. You know how many ashy jokes that I had never ever heard in my life. I was like, yo, this dude over here kicking concrete. Like, yo, man, like blowing his skin. I was like, what? What is all this hostility? You know, I'm like, yo, you know, I grew up with Polynesians, dude. Like, everybody was cool. Everybody was cool. You didn't need no lotion, man. It was hot. You know, we wore shorts 24/7. So moving back to Virginia was a huge culture shock to get to know Black community and, you know, and mix with them, communicate with them. You know, as I grew up, you know, it was harder because I loved the skateboard. There weren't a lot of Black skateboarders at all. Then by the time I hit high school, popping off, skateboarding was taking brothers out of the hood, was taking people out of the inner city and traveling the world. You know, so so you know, I've always been open-minded when it came to branching out of you know, your ethnic, you know, sport, so to speak.
The stereotypes, you know what I mean?
For sure. And I mean, I would have dudes jack my board. See, Black people don't skateboard. Try to hit me up. You know, one of my boys was like, "You should write a movie about that." I remember how hard it was for you. You know, I even remember trying to communicate with white skateboarders, and they're like, "Yo, you know, you're a poser. You know, you just Air Force Ones.
This is ours, bro."
Right? But now I look at today, and that's what goes down, man. People skating Timbs. It's universal. It was bound to happen.
It's just crazy how that happens where, you know, again, I grew up in the inner city, and, you know, when you're intelligent, it's that stereotype where it's not okay for us to be intelligent, or it's not okay for us to participate in what other people participate in. And the saddest notion is it's something that maybe previously, generation before us, we created it, it got taken away, and then it got given that negative connotation in our community, like swimming.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's the prime example. Like we, you know, before this, we were swimmers, but again, we went through slavery, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That skill got taken away. You know what I'm saying? Because we weren't able to go to a lot of the rec centers. You know, even in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 40s. You know what I'm saying? So we weren't able to participate. So that skill weaned away.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So I feel like our people need to stop falling for the old okie doke.
Oh, for sure.
And one of them was literally, you know, because again, I have friends that are still in the inner city, still there. You know what I'm saying? That used to call me Uncle Tom, and used to call me, you know, a sellout for being an intelligent guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So essentially, they're gratifying the counter, which is being a moron.
Exactly. Yeah, the ignorance.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's all a comfort level. It's all an insecurity. You know, I mean, I had one of my homeboys was hustling in high school. And, and we're walking down the hall. I hit my English teacher. I started speaking very properly. You know, speaking with diction very properly. He looked at me like I was speaking Korean. He's like, how do you do that? I'm like, how do you do what? You just, what do you mean, speak English?
Yeah.
Like, no, man. Like, you obviously haven't been on a job interview. Like, not that made him mad. Yeah. That's when he pulled out cash from his pocket. He's like, job interview? I got cash, brah. I mean, it was a knot, son. It was a knot of cash. It's like, I got cash. Talk to me about job interview. I was like, you got it, homie. No disrespect. But, I mean, you know, I'm not doing anything different. I'm just speaking to the teacher. A black teacher at that.
Yeah. And those are probably those same individuals who told you, why are you leaving Virginia?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, Yeah,
Same energy.
Something. It was always into something. You know, I had to be very, very careful when, you know, you're from the hood, you're in the inner city. You know, when you're dealing with thugs, you gotta be very careful, man. Like, yo, man, let me lay low in your spot. Nah, dog. From what? What you got on you? You know, I'm just saying, man. Hey. But you know, I mean, we make our choices. You know, and my choice was to pursue life, man, live. And I think also, had I not lived overseas, it would be different because all my cousins, a lot of my family's in Hampton, Virginia.
Okay.
Hampton, Virginia, Newport News.
So you know about that bootlegging shit. Isn't that's big out there? West Virginia, Virginia's, all that bootlegging.
And the hustle, man. I mean, you know, they doing it. And so I was open to other things versus, you know, what they knew and what they thought of me. And you know, well, man, well, you're spoiled. I'm like, I'm not spoiled. You know, just because I lived in American Samoa or you know, my father, you know, did what he needed to do to bring his family up in a safer neighborhood than normal. Like, you know, so, but it's family, man. You know. Yeah.
So, what's your view on today's current events? And we can start with, let's say, the COVID situation. COVID.
Oh man.
So to put the question more in the box, you can travel out of the box, but just so we understand it, do you think it is as grandiose as being portrayed throughout the media?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know because yes, I know the media is out there to do, you know, one thing, you know, generate media.
Yeah.
Publicize things. Get you to watch their network. But I do know people that have seen, and there is numbers of people that know of deaths, people who have died during this COVID thing.
Oh yeah.
People that have passed away. And you know, it's sad, man. People are dying. So I can't say, you know, I don't feel like I'm in a position to be like, yeah, well, you know, it wasn't, you know, that your death wasn't justified. Yeah. You know.
Okay. So let's go one step further. So what's your view on the 99 or 98.7%, 99.7% survival rate? Do you think that, like, so does that, in your opinion, and there's no right or wrong answer, in your opinion, does that grant, let's say, the world to close down when there is a night, and every year, no matter what, I want to put this fact out here, no matter what, from 25 in America,
from 25 to over 100,000 people die every single year due to some flu strain.
Every year. That is a scientific fact, like a fact. Do you think that when something has a 99.7% get better rate, do you think that grants the United States government the right to close down the government and to take away rights?
Think about this question.
Yeah.
So, does it give them the right?
Should it?
I feel at this point it should be more about choice. Like that first wave when it was brand new, the first shutdown, right?
Yeah.
We saw a whole bunch of businesses that were they lost their business.
Yeah.
Some of them
the smart thing to do was close down.
Yeah.
That's smart.
And then kind of gave us time to assess, you know, and the president was every day on the news talking about new numbers. Fauci was talking, blah, 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 blah. All the planning, giving certain people money. Certain people didn't get it. But then when it started to open up again, and then when they decided to close down again, in my opinion, to go to his initial question, it should be more about choice.
Yes.
If that could kind of sway maybe what you might say, Jay, but that's kind of where I'm at with it.
I think, I mean, there's a lot of actions they could have taken and should have taken. You know, hindsight now, but on a global scale, I really think that it probably would have been a lot better for everybody. Like other countries that I was aware of, just told people, look, everything's shut down. You don't have to pay your rent. You don't have to pay you don't have to pay anything. Everything's shut down, right? The fact that some things stayed open is what led us to suspect. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Some businesses were open, right? And therefore, and mortgages were still expected to be due, and rent was expected to be paid, right? Yeah. And when you're looking at the globally, because this is a global wide pandemic, other countries are like, yo, man, you're straight. Don't go to work. You don't owe anything till we get this cleared up. It's really hard to put in perspective that way. And that's where I make my judgment call, you know, and be like, okay, well, you know, it's going to be hard for people. It's real suspect to think if they have your best interest in mind, right? Where you have other countries, everybody's straight. No one's paying a bill. No one's paying a mortgage. No one's paying a rent. No one's going to lose their job. No one's going to lose their business versus our country. So,
so we don't even know when we're going to be able to come back. Like the film and TV stuff, like
crazy.
We're like, if you really think about it, we'd be like more towards the last out of all the different type of businesses that are going to open up. You know what I mean?
You got to be close. You got to be close by each other.
Yeah, and then there's insurance companies that don't want to insure productions in case somebody catches this COVID, which we don't all know completely all the details, how it works, this and that.
I know one detail though. I know one detail. There's a patent for COVID-19 that was out before COVID-19 was out.
That's crazy, bro.
What's your view on that?
That's crazy.
Jay.
It's not going down the rabbit hole, dog. I'm not going down the rabbit hole.
It's so bad.
I'm gonna refer to your knowledge on this. Hey, we can talk conspiracies till the cows come home, is the saying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No. This is no conspiracy. You can look up on your thing right now. Does COVID-19 have a patent? Look it up, Mike. I know you got.
I've seen it, but we'll just leave this to the viewers and the listeners.
All right.
You have Google. You have your phone.
Yeah.
Just look up yourself. Look at yourself.
Yeah. That's good. So perfect way to put it.
This is no conspiracy. Like, this is a fact, Jack. Like, there is a patent for COVID-19 before COVID-19 came out. Right? So that's just something I think people should be aware of and have an understanding of. And that's why, you know, certain people who understand that this was a pandemic. And so my thing is, what was, we don't talk about it, but think about it.
Yeah.
What was their true intention? Yeah.
It's hard not to think that. It's hard not to think true intention. If you know, you're gonna.
It's getting to that point. It's getting to that point. So, or I have a question for you though, Jay. Are you going to take the vaccine?
Oh, nah, probably not.
My man. Okay, good.
Probably not, bro. Yeah. You know, and it's hard because there was talk of a vaccine before going back to do these shows. And this is how I.
Yeah, you might. They might force. They're going to force everybody.
This is how I do my family. So
exactly, it's going to be hard, man, because. You know, I don't know if you believe in the Bible. I don't want to get too far in it, but I will say one thing. It says, from the wilderness we came, from the wilderness we shall go. And what that essentially means is that, you know, there's going to be an end game, right? I mean, even if you don't believe in the Bible, there's going to be an end game because humanity just consumes itself, especially when the wrong people are in charge. That's just obvious. It just consumes, it consumes, it consumes, it consumes. So one day there's a zenith point.
Yeah. Oh, hey, man dominates man to his injury, bro.
There you go. Right?
Yeah, for sure. It's evident.
Yeah. So we have to come to this conclusion of what truly does this vaccine, because the mask, right? So if you wear the mask, and it's preparing you for one thing. Every store everywhere you go says you have to wear a mask. You can literally not come in this store unless you have a mask. And everybody in that store, if you come in there with no mask, is going to look at you like you have a scarlet letter across your forehead. Period.
That's what's next.
So we have to ask, there you go. So we have to ask why. So me, I'm a why person. Why? What is this preparing us for? So if you don't take the vaccine, and the vaccine literally has 3 nanobite or electrodes in it, that they're already doing it in places. Doing it in Sweden. They're doing it in places. I forget, like is it New York or whatever state it was. One of these, Colorado. There it is. They're doing it some places in Colorado. They're doing it. They're having test places in certain places where literally they insert this, and there's going to be sensors everywhere, right? And so that sensor, when you walk into a store, is basically going to say, this mofo doesn't have this sensor, doesn't have this vaccine. So you would not be able to buy and sell.
Right.
That's the mark of the beast. It's that simple. And they're preparing people with the mask. It's called social conditioning.
Yeah.
Drop it, man.
Right? It's simple, but I think people just have to, it's like that aha. And once you hear it, you're like, aha. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It is what it is, man. So I try to let people know that we need to prepare ourselves. You have to learn how to garden, how to actually germinate a seed. A lot of our people don't know how to do that anymore. Right? That's a fact.
Right.
That's a fact. Germinate a seed. Get proficient on weaponry. Learn how to defend yourself. It sounds like you're already doing that. Learn how to defend yourself, your family, right? Because when stuff happens, it's going to be.
Oh, it's going to go fast. I mean, I've thought exactly what you're talking about. You know,
yeah.
And in preparing for an evac situation, you know, you have bug out bags or
my man.
Go
there
bag,
you go.
Right?
Yeah.
And when I was getting the emergency go bag, just in case, I'm like, well, you know, should we get a tent? Because people ain't used to sleeping with bugs. Should we get a hammock? Like, you know, should we sleep you know, what are we gonna do for shelter? Like, we're not ready for that. And if we're out and someone is in need, because currency, if we're talking about this, currency ain't gonna be a thing. It's not gonna be money. It's gonna be trying to survive. You know, you're like, yo, your bug out bag nicer than mine. You know, I need them dry goods, homie. Come up off.
There you go. There you go.
And it's raw. Now we're, you know, it's savage.
So it's going to go back to a survival of the fittest. See, what happened to our people, and that includes my man Mike, you know, him being a Mexican, right? Him being a Mexican and us being, you know, black, right? Our skin is literally not black, okay? They're like, we have to understand that survival of the fittest, I believe, is a real theory because it's obvious. But what they did to our people was the opposite of survival of the fittest. And what I mean by that is when it came to slavery, who survived? The big, strong, intelligent, or the big, strong dummy that didn't fight for themselves? We know. So a lot of our people that survived were not the ones who were the bucks fighting, because those are the ones they first. So we're going to get back to, and that's what they say, the meek shall inherit the earth. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can go real deep, but I'm not going that deep.
Keep going, bro. Keep going. Keep going. I'm interested now, man.
Right? So again, all this was just a godsend. So we have to understand that where we came from was literally the wilderness with Moses, yada, yada, yada. We always escape persecution, bondage, whatever it may be, because even in today, so Kanye says something very about Harriet Tubman. Did you hear that? I want to get a little bit of current events. So Kanye West, just imagine, so the people out there actually are able to connect to this. So, and remember, like, share, subscribe. I love you.
I like that.
Well done.
So you have Kanye West. He said that Harriet Tubman
didn't really free the slaves. Harriet Tubman took the slaves from the North and gave them over to essentially slave masters. I mean, from the South, and it gave over to slave masters in the North. And everybody laughed at him. Okay. Right? Everybody laughed at him and thought it was a game and a joke. And even today, Negroes in the North are not really free. They still fighting.
Right. It's different type.
So think about how it was in the 1860s.
Man.
So what he said was actually had logic to it. Kanye West is just kind of loopy, so he just spits stuff out, not really, because he doesn't really grasp the information. He doesn't really understand the information. So and he's crazy. So you know what I mean. So, but crazy and genius, that's a fine line. Mm-hmm. We have to start. I would never vote for him.
That's funny.
But you can get truth out of anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Yes. Yeah. That's. I mean, if you want to talk, truth, man. That's Holy Spirit right there.
My man.
Spirit right there. If you're getting truth,
my man.
That's
my man.
It's very evident when you're getting Holy Spirit, man, and you're getting truth.
Yes.
From people. But
yes.
Other stuff is suspect. You're just like,
man. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're talking about, just the Negro, just from the Bible times of Moses and Noah and Jacob and all of them and migration and everything, it's funny because even in the Polynesian Islands, Tongans have afros, but they're considered
us.
They're us. Africans that were like, "Yo, man, what's over here?" and they.
My man. Yes.
And went over. You have talks of even mixing with the Indians and how from Seminole Indians like in the Americas before the Pilgrims came over. You had
they were us
mixing.
And
in South America, you had people mixing. So
they called that breeding camps. So that's why I said blackbirding. Blackbirding was the process of what they do everywhere, and this is colonization that people just because again, I'm about truth. I don't mean like so. I went through a process growing up of being a truth speaker, where the first thing they do when people don't like truth is they like to label you as being hateful or being crazy. Yeah. That's because they there you go. They can't combat the truth, so they try to attack you personally, right? Mm-hmm. So everywhere we go, we have to understand what the colonizer does is the first thing they come, and just like a lion, what does a lion do when he takes over a pride? He kills the boys.
Yeah.
Right? Immediately.
That's when he takes his authority.
He takes the women and he mates with the women. And so they have something called breeding camps. Everybody out there, look up breeding camps in slavery. Right? That's going to give you a whole bunch of information about how colonization happens and how it becomes systematic. Right? So because everybody always tries to say, how do you prove systematic racism? That's simple. So a guy like me, that's simple. Because I like to go back to the root. And the root is this. All right, you know me, I got so the root is this. So let's go back to 1700, right? Let's go back, right? Because that's where we're going to find the roots for everything that we deal with today, right? Things just evolved a little bit, right? So the 1700s, imagine they had a buck, a person like myself who is free mindset. Hey, I'm running away once a week, right? Right? It is what it is, man. I'm getting my ass whooping, heal up, and run away again, right? So what they would do to people like myself is they would tie my ankles,
they will put a tree trunk over my belly, so I have to assume the position. They would tie my hands to my ankles over this tree trunk, so I was in the, this position.
Yeah.
They would bring in your mama, your wife, your kids, the neighboring plantation owners will come and they will bump break you. They will rape you in front of your wife, in front of your children, in front of your mama. Now, psychology-wise, what does that do?
Oh man, that breaks you.
That is just for you. There you go. And it breaks your wife as well, because then she says, I no longer see this man as my protector. I now see the one who broke him as my protector. That's why in a lot of brown families, there is no real patriarch. For the most part, it's the matriarch. Big Mama, she in charge. Mm-hmm. That was set up during slavery. You go to a lot of white homes, who's in charge? The patriarch, the daddy.
Oh, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So they literally flipped our world upside down. That's why we don't have success on a wide scale in the brown families. That's why, and that's how it built the systematic racism. They pitted who? The Mandingo fighting against each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Massa, they reading. Right? When it really came down to it, who did they used to use to whip the slaves? Other brothers. So that set up a psychological breaking. Mm-hmm. There you go.
There you go. That's like 0.0002 of his knowledge.
Right? But you get what I'm saying? So that set up. So now just think, us personally now, we put ourselves in a position. So if we say white supremacy, what are we admitting? So this is why I always like to look in the mirror first. The man in the mirror first. When we say white supremacy, we're saying that they're better than us. I don't say white supremacy. I say white fragility. Fragility. Fragile.
Okay.
Makes sense? Because anybody, and I say this, I feel some documentaries about this. If anybody who cannot accept the truth, anybody who has to go through that far of an extent in order to wipe away our knowledge of self, that means they were intimidated by who we truly are. That's a fragile person.
Now, just to throw this out there.
Okay.
There were a lot of empires. Yes. Before this empire.
100%.
And do you think those empires did anything different than what this empire did?
So
they were the majority?
We talking about white people?
I'm talking empires, period. Oh, because there was an Egyptian empire.
Yeah.
There was a Roman empire.
Yeah. Greece.
Greece. Mesopotamian empire.
Yeah. Assyrians.
Yes.
Persian Medes. Babylonians.
The
list goes on and on and on.
On and on. So yep. We're not covering the spectrum of humans. Hue in man. We're not covering the spectrum. Each hue has had an empire. And do you? My thing is, when they are the empire, they are the majority. Yes. Don't you think it's in their best interest to keep slaves?
Yes. So throughout all these kingdoms, we have to start to pinpoint who were the slaves in all these kingdoms, because there is common denominator of a slave that was a slave during the Roman times.
Yep.
The slave during the Roman times looked like me and you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Greek times.
True.
The slave looked like me and you. Right? The Egyptian times. The slaves look like me and you.
even though the slave map. So there's a difference. So an Egyptian, okay.
Go ahead, man.
All right. So if you believe in the Bible, we come from three lines. Everybody in this world come from 3 lines.
Noah's sons.
There you go. Ham, Japheth, and Shem. Okay? So the thing that's difference between Shem and Ham. So Japheth is the Caucasus. That's been proven. It's the Caucasus, right? Shem and Ham, we both share the same skin color. But we are not the same people. Just like today, if you go to Africa and you compare an African to an quote unquote African American, we are completely different in almost every facet. Culturally, everything. We're different. We don't wah. We don't do all that stuff. We don't put our head in little shapes and cones and shit. We don't do that. We eat differently. We people who look like me and you, we establish cultures. Period. There's a truth. And I'm just really honest about it. There's a truth that's about to be apparent in this world very soon when it comes to people who are like me, you, and even Mike.
Yes.
Because Mike's root is us.
Yes. If you really want to get back to it, because, you know what I'm saying, Jacob,
it is what it is.
Had 12 sons.
My man. So you understand. All right, so you understand. So
I get it. I get it.
So we know we can't say too much, but everybody who understands, right? It is what it is. Okay? So when it comes to those Africans, the Egyptians were Hamites, right? And so the Hamites had who as slaves? Shemites. On every single wall in Egypt, you don't see a pale face.
No.
You see Negroes out there, no, steal away, steal. That's all you see. And so I've gotten debates with brothers who say they Egyptians, the Egyptologists. And I ask them a simple question. Name one time in history, one, where you can prove to me that an Egyptian was a slave. Never. Who were their slaves? Hebrews.
They even had different gods.
They had different gods.
Pharaoh was a god.
Why do you think in America, when the colonizer came and they gave us a Bible, right, that we couldn't even read, and they said there's one God in this Bible, why do you think our people was like, I like this?
Because they're already familiar with one God.
My man.
Yeah. They recognize Holy Spirit, man. And, you know.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I got the privilege to hang with my man studied Rastafarianism.
Okay, yeah.
You know, and they're big in the Old Testament.
Yes.
Big in the Old Testament. Don't believe Jesus
was. Salacy, yeah.
Don't believe Jesus was the Messiah. Still waiting for the Messiah. You know, and that's where I learned a great deal of the Old Testament. Was talking to this Rastafarian person, you know. But you know, there was just a lot that you know I just didn't agree with. I couldn't understand. I didn't disrespect him. I'm just like, hey man, thanks for that knowledge. I'm gonna connect the dots. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna do my knowledge. I'm gonna connect the dots and see where it lands, see where it falls.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very familiar with the knowledge that you're dropping. Yeah.
Yeah. So Old Testament, I'm a guy where I come in the volume of the book. The volume of the book. You know, I read all the book. I read all 80 books, right? So I understand. You know, so 88, and plus I've read the Quran. What does the Quran mean in English?
You got me. You tell me.
It means to recite.
Oh, okay.
So what does that mean? What are they reciting? Torah. There you go. So everything comes off of the Holy Bible, which is about one people. And it's the one people, right, that know, like literally it says in Deuteronomy 28, either 46, it says that they will be known by a sign and a wonder forever. Meaning that you'll know these people by the curses that they endure. Period. Like literally, like nobody wants to even bring up the fact that our people went through and died 100 million.
Mm-hmm.
Not 6 million, not 5 million, not 10 million, 100 million.
That's a lot, man.
Think about what happened to the Mexicans. The American Indians. Do you want a blanket?
Yeah.
Do you want to be warm? We have a blanket for you.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying?
¿Qué quieres, amigo? ¿Qué quieres, amigo?
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Blackbirding. What happened to the Hawaiians? Everywhere. The Aboriginals of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same of the Twa Pygmies of Ireland.
So what do you think with the South Americans?
Like Brazilians?
With Spaniards that
100%. They're us too. So if you look at a lot of people don't believe in the Apocrypha, right? You know, so me, I have a 1611 Bible. So I read, you know, it from before slavery, right? So everybody go get yourself a 1611 holy book.
Where can they get that? Where can they get that?
Amazon. And then before you get that, make sure you like, share, right? So it has the Apocrypha in it. And in the Apocrypha, in the book of Esdras, it talks about how, so everybody knows about the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom got split, right? You have Israel and Judah.
Yeah. You're talking about Israel. Yeah.
Yeah, it got split because, you know, the seed of Ephraim was beefing with Judah. They were like, man, hey, you know how there's only one people I know that be beefing with each other like that over some sex, right? With each other, right? Come on, man. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new.
Yes, nothing new.
Right?
I thought it was split because of Solomon. I thought it was split because of David.
So it was so David. So read the book. I mean, you read Psalms, right? So Psalms was just a warning, but before that, it was already split. It was, you know what I mean? So you get what I'm saying? So Solomon, it was split before David. What happened was in the northern kingdom, they already made their exodus after. I believe. Don't quote me. I believe after the Assyrian captivity.
Okay.
They made their exodus, and when they made their exodus, they moved to all four corners of the world. In the book of Revelations, it talks about the pale horse.
Yeah.
Shall bring with it death and hell, and they will attack. Do me a favor, read that really quick. If you got your phone with you, Mike.
No.
Oh, okay. So the verse, everybody look it up. It talks about pale horse, death and hell. So it said the fourth part of the world. It's the book of Revelations. The fourth part of the world. At that time, during the Assyrian captivity, only 3 parts of the world were known. That was what we call today Europe, what we call today Africa, and what we call today Asia.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 parts of the world that were known. The fourth part was not known yet, and that's the Americas that we're in today. Okay? So are you looking up the verse, Jay?
Yeah, I think I have it right here. I think it's 6:8.
There you go.
Revelation 6:8.
Read that real quick.
And behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death.
Uh-huh.
And hell followed with him. And
Yeah.
there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth.
Uh-huh.
And that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a sword. That's just from Google. Hold on.
Yeah, okay. So if you look at the King James version, it talks about how he came with him all the beasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who brought the horses to America? Spaniards. They brought with them death and hell to the fourth part of the world that was unknown at that time. And remember, remember, a day in heaven is 1,000 years here
on earth. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff is already going.
Michael. Hey, your boy's on something, man. Yo.
Why do you think I do this podcast? Why do you think I do this podcast with him?
I might have to connect with him outside the podcast, bro. Yo, we forget the stunts. We should have did this first.
Bro.
Yeah, man. So again, so like before, again, like 2 years ago, people again they said he's crazy. Yeah, I got kicked out of the UFC because I wouldn't be quiet.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And I think what happened was they started to pick up on the fact that he might be right.
Oh, come on, man. You know, hey.
And they said
that truth is a double-edged sword, bro. That
you feel
truth
me?
is a double-edged sword. It'll tell you about yourself, man. It'll keep you honest, bro. If not, your conscience gonna eat you alive, or you just gonna have to accept the fact that you wicked.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Bam.
Hey,
bam.
You like what's going on, and you get down what's going on, just like all them other angels that decided to get down, and we're sent down. We're straight. But guys, I have to pick up my son.
Yeah, it's all good.
This
was dope, bro. We want to do more.
Hey, Jay, we'll connect, bro.
Yeah, please, Mike. Give me my information.
Yeah, I'll give you info. Yeah.
Very enlightening conversation, man. Like,
thank you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing your information, sharing your truth, bro. You know, that's
I appreciate it, man.
Courage. Yeah, man. Many blessings to you.
What's your Instagram so people can follow you?
I'm at Stuntman JAE. Stuntman JAE. Do not go Stuntman JAE 55. That is not me. That is not me. Stuntman JAE. You'll see a beautiful picture of me, my wife, and my son. I just put myself on blast, but hey, I don't have anything to hide from people. You know, I mean,
all right,
that's what's up, bro.
It's me. So,
all right, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'll give you his info and vice versa.
Yeah, you guys have a great afternoon.